Hi, welcome to our channel. My name is Purvi and I'm here to talk about my top 5 books this year. So, before we get started, I want to do a small introduction. So, yeah, basically, my name is Purvi and did I already say that? Yeah, anyways, welcome to this video and okay, so to give you guys a quick intro, I usually write blogs and write for the videos you see on this channel. I also work for a local student scene called Stogies. We also do a podcast, and since my voice is already out there on the internet, I thought it was high time to get my face out there. No, actually, this makes me really nervous, but let's go. Okay, so the first book or the top fifth book is actually two books. I know that might sound a little strange, but they follow similar themes and are by the same author. So wait. Susan Sontag's On Photography and Regarding the Pain of Others. So the thing is, I read both these essays because I wanted to learn a little bit about Sontag's essay writing. I was really interested in her style. I had read On Camp, which is an essay describing camp and that fashion sense of it in 70s, I guess. I don't know. Once I was introduced to her style, I was really intrigued by it, and I picked up these two books this past year. The On Photography details more about the journey of photography, especially in the West, and the chronicle of it, the important photographer, the important themes that they covered. Each essay surrounds a different topic, and it made me realize there are different purposes to photography than what seem visible to us. It's not a technical book per se, but it's more of a social commentary, and it's more about what photographs can do, and it was really cool. And regarding Pain of Others, the second book I mentioned, sort of has a similar touch to it. It also covers a little bit about photography, but its main focus is about how we use media to portray the pain of other people and who are we actually doing it for. So it is a dissection of this culture where we are very desensitized to violent images and the consequences of that, and just this media that shows us these graphic images, and it just dissects what this does to a society in general. And I don't think it is very recent, but it still rings true. So I really like that. And if you're interested more in general media but more about war and those sort of documentations, Regarding Pain of Others is for you. And if you're somebody who's really enthusiastic about photography or its history or what you can achieve through it, you should read On Photography by Susan Sontag. Both of these were around 4 stars rating for me, and that's just cool. I like these books. Cool. Okay, so the fourth book that I read this year that I really liked is Kitchen by Banana Yoshimoto. I think I'm saying that right, but anyways. So I really like Haruki Murakami, and I've been reading Haruki Murakami a book a few months for a past 2 years now, and I really like the elements of magical realism and the sense of ordinary narrative, but it seeps into something deeper and magical and fantastical. I really like that. So when I somehow stumbled upon Kitchen by Banana Yoshimoto, I realized that it's sort of magical realism. It carries that Haruki Murakami essence of it, and I really needed to get away from Murakami for a while for my own reasons. So I picked up this book. It is just about this young girl and her life. It's just about this young girl and her life after her grandmother passes. And I was just my neighbor. This is not appropriate. Sorry. So anyways, it chronicles this girl's life dealing with the grief after her grandmother, who is that one person she was living with, and her one close relative. She dies, and her life from that, and she develops a close friendship and a relationship with this boy whose family takes her in, and it explores their dynamic through the lens of a kitchen and food. And I generally love reading about food, but it also has this essence of, something magical creeping just beneath the surface. It's a very simple narrative, but it's told very well. Language is very similar to Murakami, and I really liked it. So top 3, yeah. This was kind of hard to decide between top 2 and top 3, but my top 3 book is My Story by Kamla Das, who is a very well-known Indian poet. And I don't really read poetry, but this is Kamla Das's memoir. It was published in 1973, but before then it was published as a serialized magazine story sort of a situation. But the thing about this is that it's revolutionary. The way that it talks about womanhood through this lens of a person who owns their story, who's ready to explore things that were considered taboo then, who talks about sex with such positivity, with such authority. And not just that, it talks about her struggles throughout her life, and it doesn't shy away from anything, which is rare to see that, especially because they're not hiding behind a character. It's literally just them. It's their story. It's literally my story. So I thought it was really cool, and I really liked the writing style of it. I like the atmospheric nature of it. The starting part is set in Malabar, and it talks about her childhood in her ancestral home in a matriarchal system. It talks about how she lived her childhood in this rural area and those impacts on her. I really like reading about kids growing up in southern India in like some tropical place. Like, well, I am a tropical person. No, what I mean is like I also like Arundhati Roy's God of Small Things, and it carries on a similar vibe to that, but it chronicles a person's life. You follow her through her childhood to her adolescence, through her owning herself and her experiences, but you also see the struggles, the hardships of motherhood, and the when you're forced to get married and how that relationship evolves. This gripped me. I read it in 2 days and I thought it was amazing. I even like the poetry. Like, I am really bad with poetry. Like, I can't take it. But this poetry makes sense with the narrative. The chapters are extremely short. It's really easy to get into, and it would be a shame not to read this book. Okay, so top 2, and this was really surprising for me because I didn't expect this myself. So the book is Eddie and Eddie. I read it in one sitting, I think on a Sunday, and it was amazing. I found this book in a bookstore in Goa, and I wanted to pick up smaller authors who write about local issues, and I really like that. So I picked this up, and the main reason I was attracted to this book is that it's almost a picture book. Each page is complemented with brilliant art. Like, it's so amazing. It sets the tone so well. It complements the story so well. Every single piece of art in this book is amazing, and I was very attracted to that fact. And it's just a story about these two dogs and how they help this lady who suffered a recent loss come into her own. So it's sort of coming to terms with your grief sort of a story with the help of animals, and those tend to be really heartbreaking, and this one is too. But it also is really socially aware. They talk about SEZ, social economical zones, and the village that she lives in is going to be under this social economical zone, which means their land might be taken away, and she gets involved with her friends as the people are protesting this, and she gets involved with this too. This is a narrative from a story about two dogs and their adventures, and this lady turns into this social commentary about how hard it is to have a say in what goes on in your own locality, and it talks about how things like these are dealt with, how dissent is dealt with, and people try to harm her, and there are these two fierce dogs who are there. And it's just a story about Goa, it's a story about dogs, it's a story about really, really pure sort of love, which is very common theme in animal related books, and I don't really tend to pick those up. But this, combined with the art and the social narrative, makes perfect sense. I think everybody should read this. I think it has 3 reviews on Goodreads. I don't get it, but it is an incredible book. I don't think you'd regret buying it. I mean, solely for the fact that the art in it is amazing, and it's so easy to read, and you consume it in one sitting, and it educates you. So you've got everything. You've got all the aesthetics and all the brain shit for you to for it to be a good read. Oh, did I just name drop Goodreads? My top book of 2021 is Everyone on the Moon is an Essential Person. And oh my god, I love this book. There isn't a single story in it that I didn't like. Even the story I didn't like, I absolutely loved, because there were elements of it that I so deeply cared about. I didn't give a shit. I just love this book so much. I finished the book and I was gonna start rereading it there and then, but I didn't. I gave myself some time to digest it, go over it, and I'd get back to it really soon. I'm literally waiting to do that. So anyways, what is this book about? It's very complicated to describe, but it's kind of fairy tale like meets apocalyptic fiction, all blended in with this queer stories of coming of age, sometimes memories and solidarity or owning it yourself. It's just beautiful stories about wonderful lives set in such weird surroundings. It's a short story collection. Did I say that? It's a short story collection, and each short story has a different world building, and every world you're equally involved in, and everything intrigues you enough, and it makes you visualize things like the way you probably haven't before. I could see what is happening in each narrative. The world came alive in the way it was written. The writing style is amazing. It flows. It literally flows. You can rap this shit. I mean, I don't know if rapping involves narrative like this, but you can read it out loud, and that can just be a piece. I don't even care if you can't understand it. It doesn't matter. It's just so beautiful. I love this book. I love almost all the stories from it. My favorites were We Didn't Know We Were Giants is one of my favorite stories that I've ever read, short stories that I've ever read, and it was incredible. It talks about this village, and they have a god that they worship, and how over a period of time the relationship with this mythical god changes, and how they come into their own as a community. It's incredible. There's another one called Estranged Children of Storybook House, which talks about fairies and expectations and parental pressure and thriving under those situations, but it does it in a way of this fantastical, magical world of fairies. It's really cool, and it brings together so many narratives, but as an entire collection of book, it is something that you can literally pick out a random story and read like from cover to cover and still enjoy. It's gripping and it hooks you from the very first story. The first story is incredible. Everything in this book is amazing. The author does an incredible job piecing all of this together, and I really liked it. I think it should be out there and a lot of other people should read it. So cool. Go read this book. And yeah, Goodreads is linked down below, and go listen to our podcast. We sometimes talk about bookish content. So cool. Bye. For the 3 people watching the video, see you next time. Okay, bye.